In this topic, we'll be looking at lines, rays, and segments. On screen, you can see a diagram. If you look closely at the two red lines, we're asked a question. If they continued in both directions, would the lines ever touch? The answer to that is no. Those two lines are the same distance apart at every point along the line. Those lines are said to be parallel. Parallel lines do not touch. They will stay the same distance apart, always. We're then asked to compare the red lines with the grey lines. There are two grey lines there, and those lines are not parallel. Because they are not parallel, they do cross. In this case, they cross in the centre of the circle. So what do we notice from this? If two lines are parallel, they never cross. They stay the same distance apart always. If two lines are not parallel, they will at some point cross each other. Now we've got some terms to look at around the same diagram. It says to us, label or highlight each feature on your diagram. So the first thing it asks us to do is label a point. I will do this with a highlighter. The point is right in the center where the two grey lines cross each other. So I will label this with the name in blue, point. We're asked to label the circle. The circle is the blue line along the outside of the shape. We're then asked to label the parallel lines. We talked about the parallel lines previously. The parallel lines are the two red lines. So I have done an arrow to both in red. The next thing it asks us for is perpendicular lines. Perpendicular. What that means is you have two lines that cross each other at a right angle. If we look at the grey lines, they cross each other at a right angle. A right angle is 90 degrees. So I'm going to indicate this using a green highlighter. There is one of the lines indicated, and there is the other line indicated. So the perpendicular lines meet at a right angle. I've labelled this using colour. The next thing it asks is a segment. A segment is a line that has a start and a finish. You don't always have points drawn like I have done there. If we look at our red lines, they start on the blue circle and they finish on the blue circle. So a red line on this diagram is a segment. The next thing is we're asked for a ray. A ray is a line that continues on forever, either in one direction. So I'm just going to circle in red the end of one of the rays and just label ray. It's one of those great lines which go on in both directions. Next thing is an angle. We find angles between two straight lines. So on this diagram, there's a number of angles. For instance, there's an angle between the two grey lines. There's an angle between the red lines and the grey lines. The right angle is between the two grey lines, as I said before. So this exercise has a number of terms that you need to be aware of. Firstly, an angle. An angle is formed when two lines meet, as shown in the diagram. Two lines are meeting, the angle is what is between those two lines. When the angle between two lines is 90 degrees, remember that, 90 degrees, then we call that angle a right angle. We say that the lines are perpendicular. So when you see the word right angle or perpendicular, it means 90 degrees between two straight lines, as shown in the diagram. The little square indicates that it is a right angle. I've just circled that in red. When lines are parallel, they never meet. They stay the same distance apart. On the diagram, you can see to indicate the two lines are parallel, they've got the same arrowheads at the end of each line. When we represent a point, we normally represent a point by drawing a dot. It is a point like a point in space. It has no length, no width. When we have a segment is a line that has a start and finish point. Not always are the points drawn. Lastly, the word ray. The ray is a line that has a start point and then continues on forever. The forever is shown by the arrow at the end of the line, because of course we can't draw a line that goes on forever. In this example, we're asked to describe in mathematical language the diagram. So first thing I'm going to do is identify for you what we can see. We can see we have a circle. We can have a ray, and we have another ray. They have 90 degrees between them, which means that the rays are perpendicular. And we know Where the two lines meet, it is at the center of the circle. So what we're asked to do is describe this in mathematical language. So what can we say? There are two perpendicular rays. That meet at the center of a circle. In this example, it says add a parallel segment above this line. As I've said before, if something is parallel, it stays the same distance apart. So what we do is we measure a distance above the line. Notice it's going to be at 90 degrees to the line. Why? Because we want it to stay the same distance apart. Then another point, measure the same distance. Now I'm going to draw my straight line. Now, my straight line I was asked to draw is a segment. Now remember, a segment, I don't have arrows on the end, but I will draw points at the end of my straight line. So I've added a parallel segment above the line. In this exercise, you may be asked to do some drawings using a compass. Some students may not have a compass available to them. On the screen, you can see a picture of a compass. We have inserted into the compass a pencil, and you can see a sharp point. At the end of this video, there is a short video to show you how to use a compass.